Are you tired of the 9 to 5 grind and looking for a way to generate passive income? What if I told you there's a powerful investment strategy that could potentially create a consistent cash flow for you? Well, in this video, we're going to take a deep dive into one of those strategies called real estate syndications, specifically how they put money in your pocket each month. We're also going to discuss the different types of income streams, how they're generated, and share some real life examples to help you understand the potential of this exciting investment strategy. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Jeff Anzalone, a Louisiana periodontist on a mission to get you out of the rat race with passive income. Do me a favor, download the free passive income guide with the link below the video. Now, let's start off with talking about the 3 types of income streams that you will be able to get if you invest in syndications, okay? Real estate syndications can generate passive income through various streams, the most common which are rental income, appreciation, and refinancing proceeds. As an investor in a syndication, you're typically going to receive distributions, which could be either quarterly, or most of my investments are quarterly, but there are occasionally that you can get some that are monthly in the form of cash flow and profits from property sales or refinancing. So either the syndication group, the sponsor group, they'll refinance after several months or several years. You can receive profits from that, or when they go full cycle or they sell. Now let's take a closer look at these 3. First, we have rental income. Now, this is the most straightforward part of passive income generated from syndications. Rental income is from tenants that occupy the properties in this syndication, such as in apartment buildings, mobile home parks, or retail centers. Now, as an investor, you're going to receive a portion of the collected rent minus the expenses like property management fees, maintenance costs, and mortgage payments. Next, number 2 is appreciation. Now, appreciation occurs when the value of a property increases over time due to factors like market demand, inflation, or improvements made to the property. Now, one of the most popular strategies that the sponsor groups use is something that's actually called a value add strategy. And the value add strategy, it actually does something called forced appreciation, actually forces the appreciation on the property. Now, this is where the property, the group goes in, they rehab it, they upgrade it, such as landscaping, new floors, new lights, countertops, appliances, etc. Now, because we're adding value to the property, the rents can be gradually increased, which does what? Which it actually increases the NOI, it increases the net operating income of the property. So when the property is eventually sold, the profit from the sale is then distributed amongst all the investors in proportion to their ownership stake. That is appreciation. Last but not least, we have the refinancing proceeds. Now, refinancing actually involves taking out a new loan that's going to replace an existing one. And it usually has better terms or have a lower interest rate. Now, this can lead to an increased cash flow or just simply a lump sum payout to you as an investor, depending on the structure of the refinancing deal. Now that we've covered the basic types of income streams, let's move on to taking these and putting into 3 different real world examples, okay? So we're going to go through these examples, investment strategies, but again, keep in mind that these are examples just for educational purposes only, and do not take this as specific investment advice. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's start off with number 1, and that is going to be an apartment complex. All right, so let's say you invest as a limited partner in a syndication and they acquire a 100-unit apartment complex in Florida. All right, so the property initially is purchased for $5 million with a projected annual rental income of $600,000 a year. Now, after all the expenses on the property, they are able to come up with an NOI, a net operating income. So basically the expenses minus income, $420,000, okay? As a limited partner in the syndication, you own in this example, you own a 5% stake in the property, which actually entitles you to 5% of this NOI. All right. So in this case, your annual passive income from rental income, okay, remember, rental income would be $21,000 right here. Okay, so you take the The $420,000 in the NOI times 5% gives you $21,000. All right. Remember, the income, the rental income minus the expenses, that's what gives you the NOI. All right. Now, let's say this was initially, remember we talked about the structure. This was initially set up as a 5-year hold right here. So they were projecting this was a 5-year hold period. So in this 5-year hold period, the value of the property actually increased by 20%. And what happened was it resulted in the sales price of $6 million. Okay. Now, remember what we bought it for? We bought it for $5 million, right? So the profit from the sale, which is actually the capital gain, is $1 million, right? Because we take the $6 million and we subtract it from the original purchase price, $5 million. That gives us a capital gain of $1 million. Now, remember you owned 5%. Remember, you're a 5% stake owner. So what happens? So because you're a 5% stakeholder, you would receive $50,000 from the appreciation. How did I get that? Well, basically, I took the $1 million from the capital gain. Because you own a 5% stake, you take this $1 million, multiply it by 5%, that gives you the $50,000. All right, let's move on to example number 2. This is actually a strip mall scenario, okay? A shopping center. So you invest in a syndication, then they go out and they acquire the shopping center for $3 million, okay? It generates an annual rental income of $400,000. And remember, the income minus expenses, you get the net operating income of $280,000. All right. As a limited partner, you own a 10% stake in this syndication. So your annual passive income from the rental income, so your annual passive income would be the $280,000 in net operating income times 10%. So you would have $28,000. All right. Now, this was projected to be a 7-year hold period. So during the 7-year hold period, the syndication, again, they made several improvements to the property, such as they renovated the storefronts, they put up new signs, they pushed out the lower quality tenants and they got in higher quality tenants, ones that could pay even more because they increased the rent. Now, these improvements, along with basically market growth, it actually led to a 25% increase in the property's value. So in essence, the shopping center sold for $3.75 million. Now remember, we bought it for $3 million. So it resulted in a what? $750,000 capital gain. Sales price, it sold for $3.75 million. We bought it for $3 million. 3.75 million minus 3 million, $750,000. Okay. Remember, you had a 10% stake, right? So in essence, you would take the $750,000 because that was our capital gain times 10%. You would receive $75,000 from the appreciation. Remember, you started off, you got some rental income, then you got some appreciation. All right. So now moving on to our last example is this RV park. And this is an RV park that the group acquired for $4 million. It generates an annual rental income of $500,000, net operating income $350,000 after expenses. Your ownership stake in this particular one is 7.5%. It entitles you to an annual passive income of $350,000 NOI times 7.5%, $26,250. Now, 3 years into the investment, the syndication, the group, they actually decide to refinance the property. Remember, you can get income from refinancing proceeds. So they go in, they refinance the property due to better, more favorable market conditions and a lower interest rate. So the new loan now not only reduces the mortgage payment, but it also allows the syndication to what? They can cash out. They actually cash out $1 million in equity. Pretty cool, right? So now remember, you own 7.5%. Because you're a 7.5% stakeholder, you're entitled to 7.5% of that $1 million, which comes out to be $75,000. One-time payout from the refinancing proceeds. All right. So those are 3 examples of the 3 types of income: the rental income, the appreciation, and the refinancing proceeds. Now, while real estate syndications can be a very attractive way to generate passive income, it's really important to understand that there are various factors that can influence basically the size and the frequency of these payouts. All right, so there's actually 5 main factors I want to go over real quick. First one is the property performance. So basically the performance of the underlying property, including the occupancy rates, the rental rates, and the overall market conditions directly impacts it's going to impact your rental income, right? And the second way is the way that the syndication is structured. That can affect the payout frequency and the allocation of profits between the general partners, those are the ones that are running the property, and you, the passive investor or the limited partner. So you want to make sure that even before you invest in a syndication, you look at the offering documents, the private placement memorandum. If you're not really sure about that, consult if you have a CPA, tax advisor, somebody like that ahead of time. The third factor is actually the hold period. So the length of time a property is held in a syndication, it can actually impact the appreciation, right? Because the longer it's held, the likelihood of more is going to appreciate. So it can affect the appreciation, and it can affect the refinancing opportunities. Because a longer hold period may allow for more appreciation, but it could also delay potential payouts from property sales or refinancing. The fourth factor is the property management. The quality of property management can really influence the performance of a property, and in turn, the amount of passive income that's going to be generated to you. So it's essential to invest with groups who have a proven track record of effective property management. And last but not least are the market conditions. Now, real estate markets are influenced by various factors such as interest rates, the job growth, and the supply and demand dynamics. These factors can also impact actually all three of these: rental income appreciation and refinancing opportunities. Now, hopefully you have a little bit better understanding of how real estate syndications can generate passive income and put dollars in your pocket even while you're still working a W-2. And one of the biggest advantages to investing in syndication, or something we didn't even talk about, are tax advantages, specifically depreciation, like accelerated depreciation and bonus depreciation. Now, if you want to learn more about how this process works, check out this video where I'll go over all of that with you. Hope to see you in this video.